Ah, good evening, my dear. I must apologize for the impromptu invitation that my associates carried out for me. I would have sent you a more formal one in the mail, but my stationery is running dreadfully low at the moment. I find it so much more pleasant to meet face to face than to communicate through dry and impersonal letters. Please, settle down comfortably in your seat, but do be careful. I prefer to keep the leather interior flawless in all my cars. You look a bit anxious. Would you care for a drink? I was just fixing one for myself. Suit yourself then, but you'll find no higher quality liquor in this country. I suppose it would be polite of me to introduce myself. Oh, forgive my arrogance, but you're a smart girl. I'm assuming that you already know very well who I am. My organization has grown vast enough that my reputation as CEO tends to precede me. After several years of strangers guessing your name and your title, it just becomes easier for you to assume that everyone does. I'm not wrong, am I? There, you see, I'd rather not waste our time with needless chit-chat and obvious details. That includes your name as well. I already know what it is, as well as your current address, phone number, date of birth. We know where you work, since that's where we picked you up. Hell, I can even list the license plates of your last 3 vehicles, even the name of your pet cat. I confess that I'm underwhelmed about the fact, in particular, Mr. Mittens is such a well-worn name for a cat. I always make it a point, though, to thoroughly research those people who I find interesting. And the other night, you became very interesting to me. Oh, honey, don't play dumb. While your attempts to feign ignorance are adorably entertaining, they are also quite incredibly weak. Do you really think that you can fool these eyes and ears? They'd have to be failing quite incredibly miserably to mistake you after clearly seeing you stumble upon our business in the alleyway that evening. You don't mind if I smoke, do you, girl? I thought not. Your surprise at my knowledge is disappointing, considering you know who I am. I have a complex net of connections, contacts, contemporaries, whatever you wish to call them. I could dig up the deepest buried secret of any given person in this city. With a few calls to the right people, information is power. With it, I've been calling a few bluffs of countless people far more talented at stonewalling me than you could ever be. Blackmailing is a fascinating tactic. You'd think it'd become wearisome after so long, watching people squirm when confronted with the smallest hint of knowledge about their darkest secrets. It still amuses me, though, just how easy it is. When blackmail is not a viable option, money inevitably ties up the loose ends. A laughably reliable solution. So, you see, with both information and wealth at my disposal, I am fairly capable of rewriting history at will. Some events are more difficult than others to rewrite, but when I set my mind to it, I generally find solutions, even when there are multiple factors to contend with. Take 2 nights ago, for example. It's not often that someone accidentally finds themselves past our safeguards and happens upon our business. It was my assumption that you were either a deluded do-gooder or an obsessed journalist. Turns out, you're simply blessed with an ungodly amount of luck. Determining the nature of that luck, however, is baffling, to say the least. You witnessed the deeds, and you escaped in time. Yet, you sit here. Not a single scratch on that pretty face. I'll admit, it was partially our hastiness to deal with certain pressing issues that led to our discovery. It's not often that me and my associates conduct business outside of our confidential locations, but in this case, it was required. Law enforcement hotspots are easily avoided when you know the city as well as I do. However, civilians such as yourself can become entangled where they don't belong. And you did become quite entangled. Most ordinary people might run for their own safety or call the police when faced with such a scene. What exactly was it that compelled you to take out your phone and begin recording our conversation? Were you hoping to be rewarded? Perhaps your sense of civic duty blinded you to the danger. Or were you going to put it on social media, of all things? Was it all in the vain attempt at posting something viral? Firstly, that would be incredibly foolish, considering who you believed to have encountered. Secondly, I doubt you were close enough to gather any sound or video of understandable quality from your position behind that dumpster. Were you? I'll bet you this entire stack of bills that all you heard was a garble of sounds, and all you saw were indistinguishable faces. I might even bet 2 entire stacks of bills. And I am a man who enjoys a good bet, so why don't we look over that video together? Come on, I'd rather not have to persuade you. Either you can hand me your phone, or my associates will. Very good. I appreciate you unlocking it for me. So very considerate. My, that is a fetching outfit. You are not camera shy in the slightest, are you, sweetheart? I'd begrudge your number of selfies, but if I were as photogenic as you, I'd probably take this many as well. You have lovely friends. I've eaten at that restaurant many times myself. Subpar cocktails, but excellent filet mignon. It looks like you all had an enjoyable evening. And there's Mr. Mittens himself, still alive and kicking, despite his old age, huh? It's no wonder you have to schedule an appointment at the vet with that weepy eye of his. Now here we are. I see you attempted a few photos before turning to video recording, but these are such poor quality. You can't possibly have wanted to keep them. They're doing nothing but cluttering up your storage space. So, let's just clear them off, shall we? I can feel your phone breathing a sigh of relief already. Now, let's take a look at this video. Pitiful that a phone in this day and age couldn't brighten the surroundings more, or might be able to see each face here quite clearly. What streetlight are you talking about? To me, this video looks too much of a dark and blurry mess to even make out what's happening. Those figures could be doing anything to the man. I'll do your phone a favor and delete this as well. There. Now don't you feel like filling up the extra space with more photos of your friends, family, and beloved pet? Because that's what a phone camera is truly for. Take it back now, and be sure that you use it to capture more positive and meaningful memories in the future, young lady. Do not think I've forgotten about our bet. Here are your winnings. Keep them in mind if you consider spreading the word about this little visit to the authorities. Would you tell them anyway? That you might have seen something illegal that someone was doing in the dark of the night? I doubt they would take you seriously at all. Besides, if you were to implicate me by name, they'd find I have a pristine criminal record and would be more likely to brush off your statement into the bin of obscurity. I'd say that concludes our business. We've circled the block enough times. I'll just drop you off by your car. You should go home. Cuddle up with your cat. Maybe call a friend later. Just be grateful for all the things that you have. Life is a precious gift, and it would be a shame not to appreciate the little things. Here's hoping that we will not have to meet again. Don't spend your winnings all in one place. Have a wonderful evening.